anybody living paycheck to paycheck, when that paycheck or you have a health situation that costs you a lot of money, you either got to get the medication and everything, and you have diabetes, or you have high blood pressure,
heart problems.
Yes, those things are critical, and they'll kill you easily.
And the medication can be expensive.
And the thing is that they end up in emergency rooms.
Yes.
So we pay for it in another way.
Right.
Also, when we asked the city of Killeen for assistance, when we first started the program, they not only asked us to do that, but they said, we'll help you, and they did with the renovation costs.
Right. Yes.
But then they also made known that we'll help you once you're open. Well, that hasn't really happened. We do have, it goes through the community development block grant.
Right.
We have one item there for $20,000 for part of a case manager's job.
Okay.
And so they really haven't followed up on that. But we have a different city manager. We have a different city council.
True.
So, I understand that because I was a school superintendent for many years, and you change over, and different people have different areas that they support or don't feel as important. But these are important people. They're people who need the kind of support to get them back into our mainstream society.
Can our county commissioners support? Can it be part of their, because they have a budget too, a budget process, and they have money. So is Friends in Crisis on their budget list?
We're not yet, but that's one step that we're going to take. And I think the key there, like for the city of Harker Heights, the shelter for the homeless and the domestic violence shelter are both located in Killeen. However, between 7 and 8% of the population is from Harker Heights.
Right.
And the transition housing, about 7-point-something% that we put in transition housing is from Harker Heights. So it does affect them. So going to Bell County, we are the only domestic violence shelter in the Bell County, Coryell County, or Hamilton County, because we do outreach in all three counties. So basically, we have 2 shelters in Bell County. They're the only domestic violence shelters. If you stay away from even the homeless shelter, which serves the area communities around Killeen. So yes, I think funding would be appropriate from them.
It would be, because some of our commissioners, when they ran for office, the homeless was on their agenda, and I haven't seen it come up on their agenda, but it was on their personal agenda, so we need to hold them accountable as well. Have you been to the Lions Foundation yet?
I've spoken to someone from Lions, but we haven't been able to sync up with the Lions Foundation.
Well,
but we are looking at bingo, which flows through that.
Yeah, you give me your information.
You got my card.
Gotcha. I can hook you with the foundation.
Wonderful.
I can do that. I can get you before them.
Wonderful.
I can, as long as you have, and their packet. They love packets. They're the packet people. Well, some people aren't, but yes.
I have presented to the Lions Foundation before and received funding for what was the free clinic back yonder, the community clinic now, because I was on that board for 14 years.
Right.
And, these are very close to my heart. Mm-hmm. People who don't have insurance, and then certainly people who don't have anything.
Right.
They got, if they come to us at the domestic violence shelter, they're homeless because they can't go back to an environment where they're going to fear for their life.
Right.
So they may show up with just the clothes that's on their back.
Exactly.
And so that's when we have to do IDs and all kinds of things, that birth certificates that are needed for getting jobs.
That's true, and you don't think about those small things.
No.
You assume we badly do that. When you say IDs, people go, so what do they do with it? Well, in moving and becoming now homeless, your ID is not that. It's not that thing you go on.
And when you're out on the streets, it's harder to keep up with your things because
you don't know.
Yeah,
it could be yours today and tomorrow somebody else's.
And like I've said, just spend one day out there on the street. Mm-hmm. Start at noon one day to noon the next day. Don't take any money with it, any credit card, any water, any food. Mm-hmm. If you have high blood pressure, you can't take any medication. Right. And that's just for one day, not for ever and ever. Go try to sleep, try to get your food so that you at least can sustain yourself.
Right.
And then, try to see if you can sleep at night. Sure. Or if you're afraid you're going to be mugged, or if you're female sexually assaulted, or whatever,
Right.
It just mind-boggling of the kind of circumstances that these people live with every day.
Right, that's true.
And in many instances, they didn't create it. I mean, it was a matter that maybe they didn't save some money here or there or whatever, but we don't either.
True.
But maybe it was some circumstances that they couldn't control at all. And normally that is the case.
I travel a whole bunch. Anyway, and I went to an event, and they were talking about homeless, and they were talking about some of the ways they solved it. So I went to the tiny house community in Austin, and I thought it was terrific. The houses were cute. I mean, because they were like a Barbie house or whatever, but it was cute, and the idea was fantastic. The people who lived there, they one requirement they had. Well, first of all, they could be the only ones who live in there, but they had to do the green. They had to grow green.
Yes,
and that was great because you're teaching them something as well as living. And I thought about that. I'm like, so clean with our homeless. We do have homeless people that do get a small check. It's not enough to rent anywhere, but it's enough to keep them alive. I'll put it that way. But they can't go anywhere else with it. And with the tiny houses, to me, this is my brain. I think the tiny houses, if we built a community like that, and we can, Killeen has enough land that's just laying there. If we could start building the tiny houses, I think that could help out a whole lot with those who do get an income, but not enough to sustain, an apartment, 2-3 bedroom apartment. But the tiny houses are like efficiency apartments, but it's a house. I think that would be a great idea for Killeen. For, like you said, the people who do have an income, they just don't have. There's no place you can live with on $400 a month.
Right.
But the tiny houses, the person could pay $50 a month and actually have their own individual tiny house. And I mean, to me, that seems like an ideal that I would talk to a builder about. But I wonder, what your intake? What would you think about those?
Would love to have that possibility. The cost with it, but. Basically, we would love to have that possibility and work in that capacity. My understanding is that they have people of all kinds of occupations that have the compassion and everything. A few of them live there, like a doctor, or a physician assistant, someone there on site that really makes a world of difference.
Right.
So, yes, and then you work with them as far as securing employment. Mm-hmm. I mean, we go through with, and like I said, we've got 38 years experience with this, with the domestic violence shelters. Right. And we go through and we help them with resumes. We help them with clothing. We get donations of really good clothing.
Right.
If they need to dress decently go to an interview.
That's true.
We help them. Of course, we help them after that too, with clothes, with their children with clothes, but we will sit down with them and have a mock interview. So that they get that skill, get that practice and everything, so they feel comfortable when they go out there and interview. And our typical person at the domestic violence shelter, and there's nothing typical, of course. I mean, but 30 days or a little bit longer in order to get everything processed and everything, and maybe get them a job where they're out on their own, or they may already have a job when they come to us. Mm-hmm. We just help facilitate that process and help them with transition housing. Right. but basically, homeless shelter, 94% of the persons that have used the homeless shelter have been there less than 90 days.
Right.
And a lot of them just for a few weeks. We had one gentleman who worked 2 jobs.
Wow.
And he did not make enough money to pay rent. He left at 3 a.m. in the morning to run a paper route, and then he worked at Goodwill. So, of course, we worked with him as far as securing a better job because he showed how much he could do and that he wanted to do it, but it just didn't generate enough money to pay rent.
Right. Yeah.
And so you work with an individual, whatever circumstances they have, and try to get him or her to better themselves and get to the point where they can sustain their own
themselves. So we have I'm going to ask you an impossible question.
Okay.
But you can get kind of sort of in the area. In our area right now, which would encompass Killeen Heights and I guess Nolanville, how many people would you say we have that are homeless?
Well,
just a guesstimate.
They've done the point in time surveys and that, but I mean, you figure just in our shelters, we've been running 75 per night, and usually we have maybe 60 new ones each month.
Wow.
Because we run over 700 unduplicated persons per year.
Wow.
So it's not that we're getting somebody coming in and just spending the rest of their life with us. It's a matter of that it's different people coming in and staying with us for short periods of time and then maybe rearranging their life so that they can do something different. Or sometimes it's just us through the counseling phase able to say, you do have a relative here. Would you like us to buy you a bus ticket to get to that person?
Right. Okay.
To get help.
Right.
And that's not, we're not trying to get rid of them. We're trying to get each individual to have the best possible situation that they can. I can't answer the number of homeless, but I think that we would be surprised when you're talking about us serving that many unduplicated persons per year. You can get an idea.
Right.
And we don't get them all.
No, because you have,
But what we had is that we got a good reputation.
Right.
And we got some of the homeless out of the camps the deep camps that they were in. They finally gave in and said, I want to take that step and see if I can do something different than just be homeless.
Right.
And so I think that our reputation is good. Our program is good. I was there one day when this inspector came through, and he inspected and this was a former grant. He went through the building and everything, and that's what he does for a living. And he was sitting in the dining room, and he started talking with me. He said, "This is the cleanest shelter I've ever been to." He said, "Normally you have some kind of smell or something someplace." He said, "Not here. This is awesome." That's the word he used, was awesome. And that's what we want to be, is awesome, but we also want to be open and awesome.
True. When we did the community event at the shelter, we did the clothes outside and the food inside and all that. I worked in the kitchen as serving the food, and I'm a kitchen freak. I'm that kitchen nut, So I walked in the kitchen. I look down first, and I'm looking I'm like, this is a clean kitchen. I was like, this is a clean kitchen. This is a huge kitchen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, it's huge. I said, but it's clean, and everything was clean. There was no fingerprints on the stainless steel. You know how you would see fingerprints on things, but it was clean. Like I said, I'm that kitchen nut, and the area where everybody was eating at. It was good. It was clean. It was spotlessly clean, but it was also very conversations. I sat there and we're, I sat there with one of the other volunteers. We're sitting there just talking. And also a lady, she came up and she was living in the shelter. She said, "Can I tell you?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." And she said, she's some homeless. And we started talking to her, but she thought we were going to judge her first.
Right.
She said, it was nice for you all to come down and do this. I'm like, "No, we're supposed to do it." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "See, I'm a community person. You shouldn't thank me for." I said, "I understood why you thank me for coming, but you shouldn't thank me because this is our responsibility to do this." And she looked at. We both said it. And she looked at us like She's like, "You're not doing it because you feel sorry for me." "No, I'm not doing it because no." I said, I can't do that. I said, "I'm doing this because I can go home and eat, and you can't. Mm-hmm. So since I can, I need to stop doing that." For that, I said, "I need to come down here and help you." I'm like, so I'm happy. I said, "For me, this is fun." I said, because I like engaging with everybody, but I told her, and I said, "No, so you don't owe us a thank you." I said, "What you do owe me?" She said, "Yeah, first time you get out, the first chance you get, she said, get out of here." I said, that's what I want you to do. That's it,
Absolutely.
And I gave her my card, I'm like, "Here's my card. If you ever need any help with anything," I say, "If I can't help you, then I 10 to 1 know somebody that can." But, we're talking with her, and she was like, we had a whole conversation, and she's the one. I told her, I said, because if you notice, you're the one brought up the fact that you were homeless. We didn't. I said, although we know you live here because we watch, I say, but we're not here to judge. We're here to feed you some food. I said, and by the way, go get another plate. Just why I said, because it was Chef Roz. I said, "Chef Roz, we don't want to take this food back. Y'all got to eat it." I said, "You eat it or wear it." She goes, "Y'all have." I say, "But no, I said, the clothes we bought, I think we did this out of love and fun." I said, "It was fun for us to do it because," I said, "I get a great, I love helping." I said, "And just to watch people come and get stuff, I said, I'm good." But we did that day, and I said the kitchen was I was like, "Wow, this is a clean kitchen." And the eating area, I'm like, "This is pretty cool here. It's actually clean." But that's the first thing I was looking at, and I was like, okay. And one of the workers, I forgot her name. I went and told her before I left, I'm like, "This kitchen's clean." She goes, "What? Kitchen's clean." Mm-hmm. She goes, "That's what that's my first thing I noticed. The kitchen was clean." I said, "Now your office, I don't care how your office looked." I said, "But the kitchen was clean." And I said, "That makes me feel better because then I know that people care." I said, "Because if people don't care, the first sloppy room in your place would be your kitchen and your the dining area." But like I say, it was clean and it was good.
Well, it's a commercial kitchen that we put in.
Yes, it is.
And because when you're cooking for $75 a day and you have to cook maybe 80 or 90 to serve 80 or 90, because one night last year, we haven't had this many one night this year, we had 105. Mm-hmm. We don't turn anybody away. Right. We don't turn anybody away at the domestic violence shelter. Mm-hmm. We have 78 beds at the homeless shelter, and you have 105. We had to go out and buy more cots.
Yes, you
They don't sleep on the floor.
Right.
We had cots already, but when we got that many people, we didn't have quite enough to go around that we could share from the domestic violence shelter.
Right.
Domestic violence shelter has 65 beds, and we've run up to 83 or more per night there. And we closed down a playroom for the kids and put cots in it so that we have the space to accommodate people. We will not turn people away. They have needs.
If a man comes to domestic violence shelter, is there a place for him?
Yes. Oh. We have men's rooms. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's just a question that people don't think about.
Both our shelters are women, men, and children.
Okay.
And we prefer that if we get a woman with children coming into the homeless shelter, if we can find some type of domestic violence in the past where we can legitimately qualify them for our program, because that is a 24-hour-a-day program.
Oh, okay.
Because they can't be back out on the streets. For their own security.
Right.
You have to call in to get in that building and state why you're there before you'll get buzzed in. And so, but the homeless shelter. People who are spending the night have to come in by 7 o'clock because we lock the doors in, unless they're working a job that we know and give approval for later. But we lock the doors and they're not able to go back out after 7. We have a smoking area out back that's fenced in.
Right.
Excuse me. So I mean, the rules are that once you get here, if you leave after 7, you're not getting back in for that night.
And that makes sense.
Yes,
it makes perfect sense. That makes sense.
Of course, I mean, if you have you don't bring alcohol in, you don't bring drugs in.
No, it's not a place for that. Question for your domestic violence shelter. Over the holiday time, when you have kids in there, do the kids get anything?
Oh yes, we have some great community individuals who bring all kinds of toys, and sometimes the hardest that we have is for teenagers.
Oh,
so trying to get things that are appropriate for the teens.
Yes.
But yes, we have some really good support. We have a lot of donations of turkeys.
Yes.
And we not only provide turkeys there for meals, but also those that are in transition housing. We'll get turkeys and fixings out to them that are receiving transition housing. In 2018, we put 511 persons in housing.
Wow.
511. We had about 200 carry over from the previous year.
Right.
That added even more that we were funding. But 511 people who came to us, who we worked with, and then they met the requirements of the grants to go ahead and put them in transition housing and help them for 6 months or maybe a year. Changing lives. That's the empowering part of our mission.
Right.
Sheltering, that's important.
Yes,
Get people away from situations, whether it's on the streets or whether it's domestic violence. Mm-hmm. Sheltering is important. Supporting is important. Getting them the services that they need, that they get access to, and also teaching them some life skills. But empowering them by getting them back into society where they can be productive and feel good about themselves and come back and even help at a shelter. Our shelter manager at the homeless shelter, she started by being a client at the domestic violence shelter.
Oh, okay.
She came there and got the services. She volunteered for the domestic violence shelter. Then she moved away, and when she came back, she started volunteering again. She got a job, and now she's the shelter manager. She's been with us for about 25 years.
Wow.
And she's a wonderful lady.
That's good.
So, people who are working, our 2 directors, we have a director of operations, director of programs. They've been with us for 20 years. You have a heart. Mm-hmm. You go an extra mile. You don't it's not just a job. It's crazy the number of hours that they put in, but it's important in order to go ahead and get people back on their feet and really feeling good about themselves and saying, hey, I'm back. I can do this, and I am doing it.
I think it's just me, not the show, but I think it's an embarrassment that the city of Killeen is willing to complain about seeing so many homeless people out, but they don't go through with their complaint of, I don't like seeing the people out there. Well, if you don't like seeing the people out there, I think they should put in the budget, and the shelter should be in the budget, because the people who are homeless in our city are residents of the city. There's no distinction in you're homeless and you're not. We're all residents of the city of Killeen. And if we care about how the city looks, and obviously they do, because you're hearing people say something about it. But if we care about how the people look, how the city looks, and if we care about, as we quote unquote say, our residents, then I don't think it should be, to me, it shouldn't have even been a vote that they do this. It should have been it's already in the budget. I hear them say we have a shortfall here and a shortfall there, but seemingly by sheer accident, when they really want to do something, they got the money. I'm not busting y'all out city clean, but you do. You know, they can find money. They can find money to do what they want to do. But I mean, this should be this is a city issue. It's not a city council issue. It's not a homeless shelter issue. It's a city of Killeen's issue. And I think we need to step up and step out. And if they say we're going to do this, then they need to do it, as well as our county. This encompasses Bell County. It's not just one city. It's the whole county. So I think our commissioners who have a budget, and it's almost time for budget season for them, I think it should be in their budget to help out. I know with the building that was JJAEP, they're allowing the Texas the youth center to use some of that building for some of the sex trafficking victims that have been found and brought back. Yes. So the county is paid for that building to be renovated just for those. They're not the whole building, but for some of that. For that. So if the county can care for our sex trafficking victims, which is good, then they also can put it, and that was not in their budget to renovate some of that building. It wasn't part of their budget. But they realized that since we are heavily in the area of sex trafficking, when we get the kids back, we can't just put them on the street. We got to do something. So that was not in their budget to do. So that lets us know that they got some money. And I think that the homeless shelter should be a part of their already inclusive budget. It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, item. It should be, yes, already here.
Well, and I was well received at the City Council of Killeen last Tuesday. Right. On a 5-2 vote with one councilman saying he would vote for it, and it would have been a 6-1, except that he wanted to know more information about budget and about a fundraising plan. So that was for the interim financing part. Then on a 7-0 vote, another member made the motion to consider it within the community section of the budget. Right. At the future. So I felt support, and I hope that support's going to remain. But I can't say anything that's not nice about them, because they've worked with us in a lot of different capacities. Right. I've worked a lot of different agencies, and they do a lot of good things. And in this aspect, it appears that maybe there is support to do something now as well as long term, and that's important.
Yes. It is not. Now I got to beat up on the commissioners and make them do something. I have no fear of saying this is what I think you need to do.
Well, and I need to get involved with them too.
Yeah, because they need, like I said, some of them ran on the, I'm an advocate for, well, then I want to know where's their advocacy right now, because I'm going to challenge it. We need to do that. When people say, when politicians say they're going to do something, we need to start holding them accountable. Go, listen, I don't see that. I didn't see that check flow through here. I didn't see it. If it was invisible, send it back. But our county needs to step up also. It shouldn't just be the city. It should be the whole county. And something I didn't know, when Officer Moore, when he did one of the homeless awareness events when we bought stuff out and everything like that, it was a lady there, and she came through, and she was homeless. She still is homeless, but she had an announcement to make, and her announcement let me know that I was out of touch with the world. She wanted us to meet her mother, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. She can move in with her mother. No, her mother moved here from another place in Texas because we treat them better. But her mother was also homeless. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know. Everybody said, well, Lacey, you didn't clap. Because I don't know how to, I didn't know how to get that one. I'm like, I didn't understand that. I said, but in her world, that was good. I said, but in my brain, I'm like, I'm clapping, but now you're both homeless. But then her, she's with her mother. So I was like, I'm in the wrong. I said, that left me way out there, because I am not, I said, I'm not with it. I said, I didn't lose it, but to me, it was like, but you're okay. And I'm thinking, okay. That means something to her then. That's good. I said, but her mother said, and I asked her mother later, I said, so you're here because we treat homeless better? She goes, yes, we actually do, and she goes, yes. I said, so how? And she said, like this event here, you all hold them often. I was like, oh, okay, because I really wanted to understand what she was saying. And then I talked to a few other people. They came here from other places because we treat our homeless better. I'm like, wow.
Like I said, we have a good reputation.
Yeah, so I'm like, it was for her to, travel from other, I'm not going to say what cities, but about
80% of our clients are from the Killeen area.
Yes, yeah.
So the bulk of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them will be passing through anyway.
Right, yeah. I was just shocked to hear, I'm like, she came here, but she's from another city, another county. But she said, yes, a lot of us know that Killeen treats the homeless better. I'm like, wow.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And I said, that's something you never will hear. Like something you can't say that. You know what I mean? That's not something you could say. She had to tell me that. And I was like, for real? How? I wanted to know everything at that point. And she was saying, like, events like this. She said, where you all came out and you're just giving. And she said, you're just giving. You're saying, hey, listen, take one of these. Take this, this, and this. And I was like, wow, okay, well, I guess we're not so bad after all. I guess we can do some help. But once again, can you let us know before we go how we can help? Where can we send money? GoFundMe account and all that. Well,
a GoFundMe account, go to Friends in Crisis within it to donate, and then www.familiesincrisis.net. There's a donate button, or you can send a check to Families in Crisis, P.O. Box 25, Killeen, Texas 76540. And we appreciate any support that you will give us. We will use it wisely. $13.33 a day to take care of 75 people a night.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Question for the younger group. Do you have a Facebook page?
I do not.
So Friends in Crisis don't have Facebook?
I think that they probably do, but I'm not.
Ooh, y'all heard that, right?
I'm not involved with it. I'm sorry.
Well, can you ask them? Because when we do things like you're doing, which is great, we forget about our millennials. If it's on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, they will donate. They will do what they got to do. You say mail, they don't. I don't think they know what mail is.
Well, they don't know what a check is.
So, can you ask somebody who's in charge of the Facebook page? I will. Can they add a donate button on the Facebook page? I think
we may have something there, but I can't verify that and say that we definitely do.
Okay, well, if not, tell them how.
See, you finally got to a tough question.
You go, wait a minute. Because I ask people that when people do things, we do it the way we're familiar with. But when it comes to
somebody's probably going to fuss at me because I didn't know that we have it.
Because you got people that said they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they do all that. Yeah. And I ask you, is it a donation button on there? You're like, no. Well, then how am I do it? And you realize, that's right. And like you said, they don't know what a check is, let alone write one.
Yes.
So, but if there's none, tell them to put a donation button on the Facebook page, please, and then
definitely
people can donate that way.
I appreciate that suggestion.
Yes, because we got to cover all the avenues. We can't just cover a few. We got to do all of them, and then everybody can say that they're aware. And I've learned to be all those people, so I'm savvy on all of them because I had no choice, but to learn how. But yeah, that would be great to add that on there as a button because we could push it out. A lot of us could push it out that way to say it's on there. And as you know, on Facebook, I can reach 1,000 people in no time. Emailing them is too much work.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to thank you, though, for coming on this morning.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity.
I'm community. I came to the meeting.
I know you are.
Yeah, I came to the city council meeting like, whoever is there, I'm going to talk to them. And it was you. I'm like, oh. The lady sitting next to me, she says, you going to get him? I'm like, yeah, I know who he is. She said, well, I know him. That's easy. Okay, good. I know who he is.
But again, I don't work there. I'm a volunteer.
You're a volunteer.
Yes. I'm on the board, have been for more than 10 years. And I
don't even know they had a board.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't, how you just don't think.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't think about it. But I'm glad that you did come on, and I'm glad you answered questions. And Also, I'm glad that the person who's listening know that please do not do Tent City, USA, because and his heart's in the right place.
Absolutely.
It's heart's in the right, but we need to redirect it and say, hey, listen, let's do food do food and clothes in little toiletry bags rather than the tent. Because that will look kind of crazy after a while if you have a bunch of tents. It will look like Tent City.
Absolutely.
And that's not what you want.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I would like to thank everyone for listening to KISS Community Connections this morning. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you take some action. I hope to see you out one day delivering something to the people that are homeless. We have closets full of clothes that we're not going to wear anymore, whether we like it or not. We're just not wearing them no more. We have food in our cabinets, in your cabinet, that you bought and you look at it, and you bought and you look at it. Well, let's take it all out and let's make use of it and give it to someone who will do something with it and possibly need it. Toiletries, women, we have a bunch of those things hanging around. Whenever I go to a hotel, I get all the stuff out the hotel room. I hate to say I do that, but I do. And I make a bag up and give it to the homeless. You got one last thing you want to say?
One last thing. Yes, clothes and other donations can be dropped off at the 1305 East Ransier location. That's the domestic violence shelter, the old hospital there, 1305 East Ransier. There's a shed in the back, and we accept all kinds of things, and we would be very appreciative of it.
Good. So you heard that. Clean your closets. Get rid of the winter clothes that you're not going to wear again next winter. Donate them. Like I said, once again, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope that you know what to do now. All the questions that I was text I asked and somebody didn't, but Dr. Moehnke did answer them, so that's all good. But as we close, I want you to always remember, you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. We'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye now.